would give Trump the questions ahead of time.
He did?
Now, how much Kool-Aid has Sean Hannity drunk before he drowns is the question I have.
Something, Greta, you know, that journalists typically do not do. I should not.
You just gave Sean Hannity his clip tonight. Like, that's the thing about this, is it's not about... But I don't care about Sean Hannity. I care about the fact that we have...
He's a collaborator.
Could I finish my thought now?
He's a collaborator.
When you have journalists running around the White House in this capacity... when you have journalists running around in this capacity, absolutely unhinged, which we saw with Omarosa as well, that there's just journalists running rampant that no one knows about, doing off-the-record and on-the-record interviews. There are national security secrets that could possibly being said that journalists now just apparently have all access to at all times. It's insanity, and I think it's a national security risk, which I care much more about than Sean Hannity.
But whose fault is that, though?
Yes, I do,
that's the thing.
But it's so much more. There's salacious...
The reason everyone is sitting like this is because this book has come out and everybody's head is exploded. It's called Fire and Fury by Michael Wolff, who had full access to you-know-who's campaign and his first year in the White House. And even though they now say everything in the book is a lie, the White House has already put out a cease and desist order to the man who dropped some of the biggest bombshells, President Steve Bannon. Any thoughts, my friends, on why?
On why
any of it?
Why? Well, there's a cease and desist because probably a lot of it is true. As some of the pundits said, even if it's not 100% true, the spirit of it is true. And everything that's in that book, we have been saying for a whole year. I'm just saying.
Well, and if you look at back up first, though, say, who in his right mind let a writer into the White House to sit there and listen for a journalist? I mean, that was insane.
Well, they're not that right.
He had a lot of access, but what was interesting to me about the cease and desist letter, they say that there was sort of this non-disparagement agreement between, I guess, Bannon and the White House. And he also says that in some cases, there were outright defamatory statements made. So not in all cases, but in some cases. And that struck me as significant.
That's a legal standard. But I mean, the non-disparagement clauses, I mean, probably all our contracts have had them, right?
Is it normal to have a non-disparagement clause in government?
Well, I think this, I don't know, I think this went back to the campaign, didn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know, which would have been government then. I don't know.
It said that Melania cried on election night. So did I. We all cried that night.
Well, we came in this morning and my head really was exploding in our morning meeting. And even last night, there's like this period of time between when the show ends and then we come back here and I'm like, oh, it's going to be a slow news day. I'm going to go home and cook. And then I'm like, what is going on? What is happening? So I have to tell you, and you know this, Greta, you're a journalist, the idea of giving any journalist, let alone someone like Michael Wolff, which, by the way, he has been described by the Washington Post's Paul Farahi as someone who, quote, pushes the facts as far as they'll go and sometimes further than they can tolerate. Giving him the kind of access where he is shadowing the president, talking to the top staffers for 18 months is not only unprecedented, but it is suicide and insanity. The only thing that I can come up with right now is that Steve Bannon is trying to take Trump out from the inside. That's the only thing that I can come up with because Steve Bannon is only all in for Steve Bannon. If I were teaching a political science class to a bunch of students saying, okay, grade 1, let me tell you this, access is the #1 currency you have to play. Keep it as close to you as possible. Do not let journalists around you in this kind of faction. I don't understand it. It is beyond my comprehension.
Maybe he thought it was going to be complimentary, but what was interesting to me about what Bannon said
just laughing.
was...
you know what Whoopi said, honestly, sorry to interrupt you, Sonny, it was like letting the fox into the hen house. I think that sums it up concisely.
I think what's very interesting and I think maybe most damaging to this presidency is that Bannon said that the 2016 Trump Tower meeting between the Trump campaign officials and a Russian lawyer was treasonous. He also said that they would crack Donald Trump Jr. like an egg. And he also said that he'd be shocked, and I'm paraphrasing here, that Donald Trump did not meet with the Russians in the Trump Tower.
First things.
That's a problem.
Let me play lawyer for just a second.
I play it every day.
I know you play it every day. And you play it very well, probably much better than I do. Is that, you know, we have obviously gotten the electrifying statements from the publisher because to promote the buzz to sell the book. I don't know what else is in the book. The things that Steve Bannon says is like it's treasonous, that would be, we don't know in what context or what his opinion is. Obviously, all this is electrifying and has lit all of us on fire. Has lit,
well, that's
probably
Bannon's opinion.
But treason
right, that's
is
it.
a significant charge to be leveled.
But I mean,
an
I don't.
impeachable offense.
I don't know. I understand that, but I mean, I use loosely, words too that I regret later. I have no idea, but I'm just saying is that I want to read the whole book.
Good. Well, we'll read it next week. But a lot of the things in the book make a lot of sense. For example, the guy never gives a press conference, Trump. We never see him interviewed. He said no to 60 Minutes because he doesn't know what you're going to ask him, and he doesn't have the answers. So he goes to his pal Sean Hannity, who's been trashing me, by the way. So let's discuss Sean Hannity for a second. Sean Hannity.
One thing is that Sean was my friend. I worked with him for years.
I don't
Full
care.
disclosure. No, I'm just full disclosure. I know you don't.
I really don't. Wait, can I finish my thought? Okay, my thought is...
And I'm not in favor of him trashing you or you trashing him, just as an aside.
But he is the one that would give Trump the questions ahead of time.
He did?
Now, how much Kool-Aid has Sean Hannity drunk before he drowns is the question I have.
Something, Greta, that journalists typically do not do.
I
should not.
You just gave Sean Hannity his clip tonight. Like, that's the thing about this is it's not about... But I don't care about Sean Hannity. I care about the fact that
He's a collaborator.
Could I finish my thought now?
He's a collaborator.
When you have journalists running around the White House in this capacity... when you have journalists running around in this capacity, absolutely unhinged, which we saw with Omarosa as well, that there's just journalists running rampant that no one knows about, doing off-the-record and on-the-record interviews. There are national security secrets that could possibly being said that journalists now just apparently have all access to at all times. It's insanity, and I think it's a national security risk, which I care much more about than Sean Hannity.
But whose fault is that, though?
Yes, I agree, but
that's the thing.
But it's so much more. There's salacious.
So here's what I like about all of this.
Yeah.
Is that you gave somebody you gave a journalist all this access. You hate journalists, apparently, because they only tell lies.
According to him.
Well, that's my point.
I think he probably thought it was going to be favorable, though, don't you think?
I don't know what he was thinking. I just know that this is a person who can level crappy things towards people, but can't take it when somebody says something crappy about him.
The typical bully.
Well, it is a typical bully. And so what is really kind of wonderful is that the new guy keeps saying, well, basically this is what he's saying. I have no idea who that man is. I've never seen him before. He has nothing to do with my presidency.
Right.
I don't know where he came. I don't know who is he. Yeah. That's what basically, because when you get your lawyers to threaten people, that's what you're basically saying. And you come out and you say, well, my presidency I did by myself. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Well, one of my favorite things in the book is that Jared and Ivanka decided, according to this book, that she would be the first woman president. I said, so she'll have Imelda Marcos as her cabinet secretary. What is it that Ivanka is qualified to do?
Well, I
would like to know.
Why are you looking at me? Why would you turn looking at me?
You know why? You're the journalist. I thought
I was the lawyer. I was hanging out with Sonny. The lawyer side. Megan's going to call me a journalist.
Why do you think that anybody thinks
I've been called more names since I've been here.
Why do you think anybody thinks that Ivanka's qualified to be president?
Because he's married to her. That's why he thinks she's qualified. Because they have baby to the pillow talk. That's the only reason.
It's like the royal family and Charles gets the throne?
No. Look, here it is. They have incredible hubris. We know this.
Right.
Why wouldn't you think she was qualified? Why wouldn't she think she was qualified? She thought she was qualified to be in the White House, to be the person that the dad went to. And the boy Jared has been sent to the Middle East to solve the Middle East problem. Come on. Are you surprised they think that
to that point.
Let me just ask him. With the question...
Wait, I have to stop everybody. We're going to go and come back and talk about this some more. Okay.
Yeah. Then conservatives and Republicans, which then forces Ann Coulter to give her a huge smackdown. Like the video if you're new, make sure to subscribe and share the video as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.
Now, Ann, I have to tell you, Anthony Weiner had some white powder sent to his house with a threatening letter, And, you know, Louise Slaughter had a brick thrown into her storefront. Stupak is getting threats. People are putting coffins on Democrats' lawns. This kind of hate speech that's going on right now has to stop.
I wouldn't bring it up, except that it happened, you know, 2 nights ago here. Yeah, okay. And 200 kids were bringing rocks and sticks to a speech of mine. And I've gotten white powder, and I've been attacked on my property. You don't hear conservatives whining about it all the time. A liberal gets one piece of hate mail, and suddenly Paul Krugman is blubbering on the op-ed page of the New York Times. That's why, by the way, I mean, the only thing responsible people can do, responsible people on air, responsible elected officials, is to try to give public figures some privacy. In a country of 300 million people, there are going to be some crazy people out there. And I know that it has become a passion of people on a different cable network to reveal the addresses of conservatives.
Well, we don't like, but that's the problem.
On our property.
But that is the problem with hate speech. It begets other hate speech, and you know we can have.
No, but I'm saying there are going to be crazy people. You have responsible liberals, allegedly responsible adult liberals out there trying to get conservatives attacked.
Oh, come on!
This guy Francois.
Most of the hate speech is directed towards liberals, and you know it right now. You have a case maybe in the 60s. In the 60s, you have a case.
Madness.
That is, listen, and speaking of whining,
Joy,
Eric Cantor's been whining about how he got in trouble. Somebody had a bullet shot through his head or through his house, by the way.
Yeah,
he's whining too, so they whine on the right also.
You or Anthony Weiner could show up at the Republican National Convention. You could show up at the University of Mississippi. You could show up at Bob Jones University, and you wouldn't need a bodyguard. There is not a conservative in America who can go to a college campus in America without a bodyguard.
Listen.
Do not tell me that this is a bigger problem for liberals. It's not even equal.
It's a totally bigger problem
madness.
for liberals.
We just don't whine.
The fact that they're sending hate mail and threatening Bart Stupak is a big problem. But, you know, let me tell you something.
I'll put my hate mail up against his any day.
Okay, just FYI, guess last night Glenn Beck, your friend Glenn Beck, that other nut job, he unveiled the I Hate Glenn Beck Club, and guess who's a member?
You?
Me. I'm so excited. This is like being on Nixon's enemies list.
Congratulations.
I'm so happy. You can't even imagine. But he skipped Whoopi, Al Gore. He skipped Stephen King. You know, he skipped a lot of people. But I'm so privileged to be.